Namaste. I just watched a video by Heidi Priebe about emotional maturity and how much people fake it. I sent it to a friend of mine, and their first response to it was, I don't know if I want to be emotionally mature. And I was like, that's such an avoidant response. And in fact, it is. The thing is, emotional maturity is more than being detached from your emotions. In fact, it has nothing to do with detachment. It's actually performative, fake emotional maturity, which goes into the same category as toxic positivity and spiritual bypassing, which can be as harmless as telling a congregation member they need to do a few more Hail Marys, or it can be as harmful as causing a bunch of people to believe that they don't actually need food to live and that they can just live on sunlight alone, causing them malnourishment and death. This is Psyche Blossom. Buddhism, Hinduism, and Eastern asceticism reached the Western shores, and the West didn't really know how to deal with it. They saw non-attachment, and they, I guess, translated that as detachment. They saw the monks and the meditators and their surprising lack of being thrown by emotions, and they just took it as, oh, being spiritual is not having emotions then. And so instead of actually doing the work to actually learn even what non-attachment was, let alone actually attain non-attachment, they just practice detachment instead. They practice invalidation. They pretend their feelings don't exist. They just pretend to be the image that they see of the spiritual guru, and they never actually do the work to obtain being that kind of person. Eastern spirituality and Western thoughts like Stoicism have mixed and created something like what is actually emotional avoidance in Americans is just now dressed up as spirituality. Now we can use spiritual doctrines to invalidate your experience. Everything happens for a reason, so if you're upset about it, then you're ungrateful. If you're experiencing a negative emotion, you're supposed to only feel and experience positive emotions to be able to manifest the thing. So you're supposed to completely deny that emotion if you want to make something good happen in your life. If you have a negative emotion now, you are responsible for experiencing the emotion. This new age Western spirituality has become a kind of emotional avoidance, just dressed up. Now, invalidation isn't just from a toxic, narcissistic person. It's now your pastor, your spiritual leader. It's now your favorite YouTubers telling you how every emotion you feel is just your fault. Narcissists, I bet, can't wait to tell you that, oh, well, I'm not responsible for how you feel. And while that's true at a very high spiritual level, it actually is just condescension. And we miss a very integral part of Eastern spirituality as it integrates into Western thought, and that's compassion. See, you can't have the ascetic principle of non-attachment without the ascetic principle of compassion. And that's why it's not detachment. They're not the same thing. A really good example of this caricature in fiction is the Wizard of Oz character. At the end of the story, it's revealed that he's just a regular guy behind the curtain. And he was really quite rude to all the people who came to see him for their magic gifts. And in fact, he didn't even have any magic gifts to give them. He just had condescension, fake power, fake magic. Everything about his personality, his personage, was fake. And then when they pulled the curtain back, you saw he was just basically a fool who the whole adventure had been based on. He was just a random guy, and everyone had put their lives in danger just to come see them for their powers. And at the end of the day, it was actually his authenticity that actually gave him and the story value. His actual vulnerability, his way to actually connect with the characters at a human level was the actual magic. The difference between toxic positivity and emotional maturity is, well, everyone goes through some tough shit sometimes. You can't really avoid having negative things happen in your life, and just pretending that they don't bother you doesn't make you more spiritual or anything like that. In fact, the idea of non-attachment is not being detached from your emotions, but more so being detached from controlling the emotions. You're very happy and very sad, but you're no longer doing things for the express idea of not being sad. You're no longer acting out of fear. You're no longer acting out of the idea of a reward you will receive in the future. The idea of non-attachment is that you are not attached to outcomes. It's not being detached from yourself or from other people's emotions. Life is full of emotions. Emotions are the salt of life. Any spiritual person will tell you that the whole purpose of being on the spiritual path isn't detachment, is joy, is equanimity, is love, is compassion. The fruits of spirituality and the spirit are endless joy. So if you are cutting off your emotions, you are definitely not experiencing any kind of joy. You're not experiencing peace. You're experiencing numbness, which you may as well be a drug addict if that's what you're looking for. See, emotional maturity, like I said, it's not about not having emotions. It's not about performing like you are better than everyone else. It's actually being completely transparent about the way you are. It's being honest about your faults, and that's really the only way you can get better at anything. Jake the dog from Adventure Time said, sucking at something is the first step to actually becoming kind of good at something, or something like that. And that's very true. The only way to actually become emotionally intelligent is to transparently be emotionally stupid. I had this situation where I ghosted this person because I thought they felt some sort of way about me. But when I went to ask them how they felt about the thing, they actually weren't upset with me at all. They weren't ignoring me at all. And so really, when I went back to them and explained to them that I deleted them from Facebook, it was really a very difficult thing to admit that I did something that I felt like was emotionally immature. But really, being able to express that I did something that was emotionally immature and be a grown up enough about it to say, hey, I acted like a child, I'm sorry. And to be able to, on top of that, being able to own that is more emotionally mature than, when they find out like, hey, did you delete me? Like, no, you must have deleted me. Pulling some manipulative, avoidant crap, or, some gaslighting or whatever, as opposed to just owning it and admitting that, yeah, you're not perfect. I did something stupid. My bad. The first step to actually becoming emotionally mature is understanding that you may not already have it all figured out already. I think I said already twice there. In my last video, I talked a little bit about invalidation, and that comes a lot with the performative emotional maturity and toxic positivity. If you want to check out that video, it'll be either, I don't know what side it's on, this side maybe. My next video, I'm going to try to do a Christmas special about the truth of Santa. So if you don't believe in Santa Claus, you might want to stick around for that one. This is Psyche Blossom. I'll see you in the next one.